Hello. It's like so.
Hello.
I know, right? Like we're live, right? It's like really wow. People are there, but
You have to
it's
start it
me.
like, "Hey, everybody, welcome." We have to have an opening song, guys. Like, we're gonna have to dream on this. Like, let's make up a little rhyme about cards.
Yeah, sooner
Like,
or later we have like
I'm
little.
Rashad. I'm Madeline. We're the.
No, we're not doing that.
I know it's like I'm so surprised we even got Gina on live. It's like, are we really here?
You meet both. But we're here.
We're here. So we're back again. We wasn't here this morning, so we decided to come this I guess afternoon now. Like an hour before noon where I am. So we appreciate your patience, and we was going to talk about the six of hearts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of things like come to me as far as the cards and when they were looking at the spreads, and it challenges me. So I did title this, I think, reading your spread. So looking at just the six of hearts in this particular spread, I think is important because whenever you're looking at the cards, you really have to look at that full spread, to understand that particular card. That makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Because I feel like when I use, like, when someone says, I'm a queen of clubs, I just think of the queen of clubs and I forget to look at what is the queen of clubs working with that creates who that person is. Right?
Mhm. No, whenever it's just so interesting because I'm around the Queen of Clubs energy. I'm sorry. It's just like the queen out of all the hearts, yeah, the Queen of Clubs. I think you really have to look at. I just got done talking to one in a consultation actually just before this. So I'm just so familiar with the energy and looking at their position where they sit at. It's like Mars, Mercury is like it really can be that particular energy. And the Six of Hearts is a little similar to Mars. So it's like, what is it that brings out that energy?
And so just as you were talking about, right, how you can't just look at the one card. The six of hearts transforms into a queen, the queen of diamonds. So you can see the attributes, in that's in their spread when you look through all of the cards, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
So
let's talk about what does it mean when you transform into? Can you guys give me a little bit more on that? Because I hear that language and I don't know if I fully grasp it. So I get really scared because I'm transforming into a three of diamonds. So I've been scared for a while. So, like, what does it mean?
go ahead, Rashad.
What does transform mean? Like, what do you mean?
I think I look at it as far as I had to really look at the archetypes of my card and what influenced them. I guess I'm kind of lucky because the cards that I've seen and I was always attracted to, they end up being three of diamonds. And I was like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. And then the people that inspired them and their teachers were four of clubs. And I was like, wait a minute, this is weird. Like what's going on here? And then for me to look at Aquarius Maximus and what she does, and it's really like that card really has to understand what they're transforming into, like what they're growing into, and like you said, looking at all the attributes of their spread, it's like you're becoming that. So it's kind of, I look at the cosmic lesson and those particular cards similar as well because it's after the first seven or eight, nine cards. Depends on how you count it that you have in your spread, right? So those particular cards are really what you're looking up to transforming to, like using all those particular skills. So it takes a lifetime, right? Some people believe when they look at the cards that you don't never reach that card, but in essence, that's what you're trying to do, right? Elevate higher.
So then to transform with the cards often means that you're kind of elevating. So when you're transforming in your cards, like somehow the three of diamonds and the four of clubs have some kind of transformation relationship.
Yeah, the three of diamonds transforms into the four of clubs.
Oh, I see.
So I can see how I remember there was something that came that if you take the word heaven its solar value is the three of diamonds, right? And I sat with that. I was like, that doesn't, I have to dig into this, right? You know how I like to dig into things. So
Yes, we do.
Because
I,
they are the masters of chaos, right? But it's heaven.
but I looked at it. But if you start at the big, if you start at the three of diamonds spread and you go through their life path, and if we really look at heaven, to me, it is a state of mind, right? And that's the four of clubs. You're either going to choose a heaven mindset or a hell mindset. So you treat the three of diamonds representing the word heaven. I actually once, instead of just looking at the three of diamonds on its own, when you look through the three of diamonds spread, the first card is the ace of spades. So it's you have to die and be reborn. Heaven. Then you know what I mean? But then you look through the rest of their spreads. They have the sevens, the nines, which are faith, fear, universal, letting go and getting you to a much more relaxed peace of mind mindset. So you choose, either you're going to have a heaven mindset or a hell mindset. And I can see that as the four of clubs, because the four of clubs is clarity, peace of mind, a relaxed mind. But that doesn't mean that three of diamonds doesn't, it definitely has trials and tribulations because of those sevens and those nines. But truth be told, heaven is a mindset. And so
true, Gina.
That's how so then once I like broke it down through every placement of those cards in its path, transforming to a four, I can see why heaven would equal to a three of diamonds. So yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. I love that heaven equals three of diamonds. I feel less scared now.
Right.
But, and I know my thoughts are good. Yeah. So, but I think that's such a good truth about the cards. Like, I think everything I've learned is that it has so much to do with your mindset and how you talk about it and how you hold it, like all day, every day.
Absolutely. The three of diamonds is, I joke around with Rashad all the time. Whenever I have that three of diamonds in my spread, I'm like, oh, make it stop. Please make it stop. I can't do this. I'm like, Rashad, how do you deal with this on a day-to-day basis?
Nice.
And it's always interesting to hear someone else's point of view of the card as well on the daily, because you literally run through the energy. It appears around you, like even mentioning the Queen of Clubs, and I was like, I just had that card around me as well. So it becomes a familiar energy once you're around it. You're able to pick out certain clues and key points. Like Madeline was telling us about her vacation.
Not a vacation.
And I was like, that sounds such like a seven of spades. And lo and behold, it was like a seven of spades moment when everything came to the peak of the story. And it's like you can really look at the energy and see the climax or the characters within the story. So looking at your daily is like, okay, what is it about this day or this energy that you can really tell or get from that particular card? That's why it's always interesting and important looking at your personal cards.
You muted yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry. Because you can. I was just saying because you can learn that way, and like you say, looking at the full spread, you start to see the cues of the cards, like the Ace of Spades, sevens, and those are like real internal, So you really have to go within, and it's like a constant transformation and change,
Yeah, Gina, you're in an Ace of Spades 52 day right now, right? You're finding it more introspective.
Oh my God. Choosing yourself, opportunity that has come, a death and a rebirth, even with what we just talked about, about potential, a death and rebirth in business aspects. So that's why these cards are so beautiful, because rather than question what is showing up, I can say, you know what, I'm going to lean into this because it's supported. Right. And that's what's so beautiful about it. And then even too, you think about like the energy in the week, right? So for me personally, the Six of Hearts is my Uranus card for life. So what most people would look at as being steady energy, I may deal with it differently because it's Uranus for me. The Six of Hearts can definitely show up a lot more abrupt for me in different ways. And it is a Mars energy. So, and I've seen that play out. Like I can get very heated and very intense very quickly. And I'm learning to, rather than respond like I normally do, I go to sleep now.
Well, I wasn't going to sleep, but what I kept doing, I said, oh, I have to go do my 13 breaths. I found out that in between those spots where I wanted to take my Brooklyn out, I breathed and I seriously did stop and do 13 breaths in now. And it really did reset what I was thinking. Like I'm recognizing that there's almost like a current of gooiness and reactions that we all just kind of keep mixing back. And when you tune up and like center and then respond, you're going to respond differently.
Absolutely.
Because my autopilot, man, I was ready, you know, and I was like, ninja moves, like, let's go.
That's the work. That right there is the work, is one, just recognizing that, okay, why am I responding this way? And for me, I've had to get out of my head and get into my body. So I'll do things to, like I tell people all the time in readings, like, especially because a lot of the 3 energy, 5 energy, 7 energy, 9, it can cause us to have that, like we call it the monkey mind, right? You're kind of, you know, you're just all over the place. You can't get centered and your thoughts are really controlling you at this point in time. And until you stop them and recognize them, and sometimes you do have to move yourself. So I'm a big believer. I always have music playing. I don't watch TV. So I'll bust out and dance in the middle of my kitchen or my living room, or I'll do some stretches on the ground because I know I have to get out of my head. I just have to get out of my head for like 5 minutes so I can stop and then breathe and come back. And then that's why I say it's so important to bring yourself to the now, to the moment, because you're really just like you're having things come back up that have always been there. But that's the opportunity to do the work, to work out, like, why am I even, what makes me go to that extreme? Like, just because this, you know what I mean? And that's the work to me, in my opinion, to sit with that and unpack it. Don't just sit with it, but then unpack it and say, why am I doing this? And then make a conscious effort to do something different. Change the thought pattern, change what you're, you know, how you're thinking. But that really requires us to come to the present moment. And I think the 6th energy, to go back to just talking about 6, the 6 of hearts, you know, things happen to kind of bring you, like, it really is a reflection, because when you look at the number 6, it starts with at the top and it goes back into itself. So it really is just a reflection. So if you don't like what is showing up, that's where you have to like the 6s give you an opportunity to adjust, to fix, to correct, to re-put, to change what you're putting out so you can change what's coming back. But you have to recognize it first and foremost. And that's key.
And to recognize that we live in cycles and patterns, right? Because in tracking people, I hear them all the time, hit the same spots. And it's like, so there's the spot, right? That's the spot. That's the one that wants the polish and needs the bump, right? So you're going to keep getting bumped there to get the polish there. And then the response is what's going to make it get clean. Because if you keep the distortion, you're going to keep having the same experience.
Right. You're going to track the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. And the universe is working for your shiniest. So you're going to get the opportunities until you're shiny.
Right. Until you fix it. If you don't do the work, if you ignore it, it'll come back in a different way. It'll come back around in a different way, a different person, a different situation, a different scenario, a different opportunity. And if you don't make those corrections and those adjustments, you'll just continuously do the same thing. And I think that's what brings people to these cards or to any metaphysical modality to help, is because you're tired of the same shit. Oops, you're tired of the same thing.
I think I said the F word before. I wouldn't worry about it, but keep going.
I know YouTube has you know, the crack it down.
You're tired. You're doing the same thing, and until you say, you know what, I'm tired of this, that's when I think the universe like starts like shifting things in your life to bring you to a space where you can actually learn, why do I do this? Because I think you get fed up. I did, for me. And it was with, you know, how I would respond to my kids when they would want something. My same response was the one that was given to me when I was a kid, and I didn't like that. So I recognized it and have done a lot of work to reprogram that so that hopefully their inner voice isn't, you know, got enough, or we can't do it, you know, that lack energy. But that I've had to do that unpacking and really retraining my thought process, how I think about things and prosperity. So yeah.
The 9 of clubs and 9 of spades. So those 9s are really like reprogramming. You know, I always say those are like things are built up over time. Becomes ritualistic. Your habits, the way that your mannerisms. I think you start to reflect your parents and those things. You have those challenging Queen of Hearts, King of Hearts. You start to perform and act out those things, and it's really hard to change those habits and those things because it becomes. Someone was speaking about the talking about the body remembers, or they were telling me
The
about
body
something.
keeps score.
The body
Hmm.
keeps score.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it reminds me of that as well. It's
Hmm.
like things you have to
So
reprogram
you are
your
setting that,
habits.
like that's the
Yeah.
thing. Your body is keeping score, so that's why you will attract the same exact thing in different shapes and forms until you retrain that imprint that was there, right? And
Mhm.
that's and we regenerate cells uh, on a regular, so it's
Every
not that
morning, every morning, every
right.
day.
You
Mhm.
can't do it.
Mhm.
You can go sit in the sun for 20 minutes and really literally reproduce the cells from the vitamin D. So and when you're doing that, you should be, in a mindset, in a mind frame. Your cells are listening too. So
Mhm.
that's another
Mhm.
thing. That's why we
Prayer.
say casting spells with your words. Your body is listening. Your cells are listening. So if you're,
Mhm.
I tell my daughter all the time, if you say you're not going to pass a test, probably not going to pass a test. So you have to be mindful of the words that you're saying. We're not going to win this game tonight. Well, you just told the universe, you just told your
Mhm.
body, you just told, that you're not going to win the game tonight.
And you start
Mhm.
become paranoid, and you start become believing those things that you say.
Right.
So it's like you always have to watch what you say and what you put out into the universe. I have to really learn those particular traits when looking at like this past or last relationship, looking at like the habits and things I say, because they are a lot of times reflections. Like you said,
Mhm.
like having the two of hearts and Pluto. Like no matter what you do, you can't run from the mirror. You can't. You
Yeah,
can't.
we both have them twos in Pluto. That's no joke.
So a lot of those internal things you may push away, hide, things you have to change comes through those Plutos, and you start to realize, who you are and your particular desires. And like you said, what you desire, what you put out, it becomes a reflection a lot of times.
I've noticed that your projections are actually information about how you protect yourself or what you want people to see and don't see. Like you're kind of telling yourself where you're holding the cards, and you know what I mean, all the time by the way you talk.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So I
Hmm.
often say when people do project out and tell me the whole story, I'm like, so let's see what you just told yourself about yourself.
Hmm.
Like this is, you told me about this, you don't like this, you want, because that's what they're doing. They're setting a tone of where they think it should be based on what they're projecting. So now it's like, but then you're protecting what's really happening. They might call it the shadow part, but it's really just the part that you'd want people to see. It's like we have a house of archetypes and we'll bring out certain ones that people can see, but I don't want anybody to see this part of me. So I'm going to overshine this part of me so nobody sees this part of me.
Hmm.
But you see it because you work so hard to hide it so everybody sees it.
Yeah, you're overcompensate. You'll overcompensate too, and then a lot of
Mhm.
times I can usually, people will catch on to that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. That's interesting. Very cool. So the other thing I was curious about is this idea of this weekly card. So then we have the influence that it's the whole spread and not the card. And so when people want to know themselves, you got to really look at the spread of the person and realize how they're affected by all the planets and where their cards land. And then when the weeks come in, it's kind of like an overtone over what's happening. Is that one of the ways you'd say it? Or how would you guys suggest the week plays into the lives? The weekly energy, how does it play into the lives of the people?
I mean, I see it, when you think about what's happening astrologically in a weekly, time frame, I can connect it to the cards, I know this week, for instance, we have a big conjunction with Mercury and Pluto. And, that's how we communicate, and the Pluto energy is very transformative. So, and the Six of Hearts being a Mars energy, and I wouldn't be surprised if Mars is doing something as well. So I can see how, yeah, so it is an energy that collectively we are experiencing, because we all live under the same sky. So we collectively experience these. And like even last week with the Five of Hearts, into the Six of Hearts energy, I think we had that, there's that big earthquake that's happened, You can see that the 5 energy into the 6 energy because it's Mars. And I think even like Turkey might have been a 6 of hearts country, something to that effect. So you can see how it lines up like that. Now, I also like to do more. And like I said, Rashad, the 6 of hearts is his challenging karma card. So for him personally, this week could be where he's having like a node transit. Like there's something could be happening with his north node or the nodes, because that's his challenging karma card. For you, it's your Mercury card. So you may be experiencing that Mercury-Pluto conjunction more powerful than other people, since your Mercury card is the 6 of hearts, right? For me, it's my Uranus card. So I'll connect it back to me or my clients that I'm reading for to see, okay, if it's a card in your spread for your life, pay attention to what plays out this week, and it helps you to also, I feel like, understand the energy, because you're just aware of what's showing up. And I always say with 6s, pay attention to what's showing up and what's leaving, because it's all aligned, and that's a big part of that 6 energy, is being aware of the timing of things, knowing that it is all coming for specific reasons to ideally be amended or adjusted or balanced out or completed.
Nice. Good, Gina. That makes a lot of sense. And I like how you brought through that it's going to affect everybody differently, but there's like a basic tone astrologically.
Yes. You'll see
that's setting the frame.
Yeah. You'll see that in the, and then I also look at the cards. Like, this is how my brain, I don't stop. I keep going and going and going. I also look at the cards that are in the week of the 6 of hearts week, and how do they connect? Because each week is going to have a different set of cards, right? So paying attention to, like, there's obvious this week is majority of spades.
What do you have, like a big board on your wall or something over there?
Calendar. My calendar. I write in my calendar the daily card. I write the week, the month. I know my spread very, for the most part, pretty well. So I'm just very much, I always pay attention. I also follow the moon. You see how the moon connects. Like when since the moon moves the most, or the most frequently, it has the most transit. It has the most aspects. It has the most, connection to the other planets. So I can see that as well, connected to the weekly energy.
Nice.
I do. Yeah, I get a little bit overboard.
So everyone you hear Gina and Rashad talking about doing readings. So definitely hit them up. This is a great time to get a sense of what's going on with you. Things are going direct. You can use a lot of insight in yourself right now. So it's a great time to hook up with Gina or Rashad for those readings. And we have a newsletter that's going to come out that's going to include some information that you can get, and then offerings for other ways to know yourself deeper. And we'll continue to do these rooms like we're doing, but just wanted to throw that in there because I'm excited to get more people smart about who they are, because it'd be more fun to co-create with the world and not be in resistance, because I personally am getting a little tired of like being patient and being nice and stuff. I'd rather be pretty direct and get to what's going on.
Get your shit together.
It's like, yeah, I know.
So we can stop this train wreck that we might be on.
And what's the way that you look at the moon? How do you look at that? Or
I pay attention to, like, right now the moon is in Libra, which for me personally, that's my natal moon. So I'm very much aware of that. I'm having a return of my moon each month. The moon moves every 2.5 days. So I can see like the moon would be like, I saw the moon was in Gemini on the 5 of Spades day. Makes sense, right? Change, conversations, communications, being able to adapt, right? So you see how when the moon moves to a daily card, I can see that astrologically lining up to the card as well.
Wow. I'm going to wrap myself into that more. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Manifesting with the moon, paying attention to the moon will change your life, because like you should know that during a void of, a VOC, there's no energy, right? So you don't want to start something new when the moon is VOC, because it might not have a lot of like, oomph, if you will. I don't know if that's the right word, but like staying power. It doesn't have a lot of like. There's nothing making there's no energy behind it, right? It's kind of it's not aspecting anything, so it's not at its highest capacity, right? As it moves into its next sign, now we know we have, the 28 to 30 degrees of it being there, 30 degrees of it being in that sign. So now you have more time to, like, for instance, we just came off a Virgo moon. So more people, like, my house got cleaned. You get more organized, you get more practical, you get more focused, right? Now we're in Libra moon. It's more about relationships. Here we are having a conversation. It's the communication. It's the one-on-one. It's relating to another Libra moon. We know that over the weekend, which now makes me a little bit like, oh crap, I'm about to spend a whole weekend with my family, and the moon is being Scorpio. I need to be careful.
He's gonna go deep. He's gonna go deep.
My mouth, huh?
Who are you visiting? Your family?
My whole family's got a house. My aunt she came down from Montana. So she rented a house over in Tampa. So we're going to go this weekend. And it's my niece, a King of Diamonds, birthday this weekend as well. So we'll be around a bunch of family, but the moon will be in Scorpio. So people are going to be in their feelings.
The emotions and all the.
Yeah. So I will go to the casino instead.
Now, Gina, lean in and take the high road. Let's practice all this stuff. Gina,
I'm going to practice. I already made up my mind. No.
Oh, Jesus. All right. Well, she talks about it. Someday she'll do it, but she's good at talking about it.
Huh?
Like you said, is it at the end? Maybe everything will have washed over. Everyone is going through all that.
Let's see the moon. The moon just got into Libra, so at least we have.
About it.
Yeah, about probably Saturday, Sunday. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
It'll be in Scorpio, but it's not surprising though, because you'll see that King. I've noticed Scorpio moon. I always pay attention to when it comes around and pay attention to the cards that it has. It's a powerful energy, it's a powerful moon.
So when does the Scorpio moon start? Because I'm going out to dinner with my sisters on Saturday too. We haven't gone for a long time, so I'm like, wait a minute, let me get some information here. So the Scorpio moon starts probably. If Libra, probably tomorrow.
Well, Libra, no, it just got into Libra, so it's here until it'll be in Scorpio on the 11th at 1:35 p.m.
Wow, right when it starts.
Saturday night will be fun. But here's the thing. That's what's so beautiful about that. Going into that, knowing that energy, knowing that people's emotions can be enhanced or extra sensitive. You don't want to pour gasoline onto that fire. You want to put that shit out, right? So knowing that you have that energy, and knowing that for me personally, I will be around my family and emotions could get intense, that I, rather than ignite them, I will diffuse them because I'm aware of the energy. And that's just all it is just really being aware of it. Now, you're not going to be able to, avoid maybe some deep conversations that may need to be happening, because on top of it, so here, what is really interesting, tomorrow, Mercury and Pluto are doing their big conjunction, I think at 29 degrees, because Mercury is in Capricorn. It's getting ready to move into Aquarius, and Pluto is at the 29 degree of Capricorn as well. And then you're going to move into a Scorpio moon after that. Can you imagine the intensity of communications?
Whoa.
Yeah, it's gonna be lit this weekend.
Whoa.
It's raw emotion right there. So,
oh boy, I'm glad I've been prepared. Okay. Yeah, thank you very much for that. And I think that's a beautiful thing that we can add to our conversations, is that overriding moon. Because I think, to me, the moon's a huge influence on my life. Huge influence on my life. I'm a Cancer, it's huge. And I actually realized in reflecting and learning that there were times that things like that were happening, and I'd be acting certain ways and perceive myself to be almost like crazy, but it would go away. And I really started to realize, I didn't know what that was like. This is going to pass through. This stuff doesn't stay. This is temporary, this is temporary. And do as little damage as you can and take notes, because it's going to happen again.
Yeah, it comes back around after 20.
Yeah, that's that cycle stuff we were just talking about. You're going to keep doing those 13, those moons over and over. Yeah.
And the cards are built on cycles. So, it's a calendar, the tracking of the days, the tracking of time. It's all a calendar. I always tell somebody the emotions are temporary. I'm mad. I tell you something, but that doesn't mean I'm hanging on to it. Or trying to hold on to it. The essence of the Six of Hearts, forgiveness, let it go. Make peace for what it is, what it may be, and not getting emotionally triggered. Right.
And so then what are the days? What are the cards of those days? So because today is the
Oh, well, you're looking at it. Look, it lines up. Ace of Spades day. Ace of Spades is a very Scorpionian energy, right? The death and rebirth, Scorpio moon. So,
Yep.
and then you have go into the King of Diamonds, which is going to want to assert power, right? And that's what Scorpio. Like that raw emotion. They're going to give up that power that they have, so they'll fight for it, right? That's Scorpio moon, I think. Deep, intense feelings. So, when you have the Ace of Spades, so tomorrow makes sense. Think about it. Mercury is communication, and you have Pluto involved, two of spades, big on communicating with others. So our communication is really kind of what's going through a huge transformation. And so one day, two of spades, how are we communicating? How are we reflecting? Pluto's coming in to say dead it if it's not working. Ace of spades the next day, rebirth, a new way of communicating, right?
Wow.
King of diamonds on the other moving into the diamonds energy.
Ooh.
And are you going to apply it?
Boy, I am definitely walking into something. I have my first sisterhood Friday night that I'm reclaiming the sisterhood satsangs that I do, and I'm going to see Fleetwood Mac with my sisters and around my moving and some of the ways our dynamics work. And on Sunday, I have a big business day and some things going on as my King of Diamonds. So I'm going to get a lot of rest and try not to, escape.
Yes.
And you walk in everything with the sense of, like you said, wanting to be positive, and especially two of spades, six of spades. Like you meant to kind of do this anyways. It's a partnership and it's an agreement. It was like we agreed to do this.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I'm thinking. Exactly. I'm thinking. It was like this has already been designed. I'm just held in my part in the scene that we're about to play. We already said yes to this scene. Let's do it in a good way. Awesome. Well, this is great, guys. So I feel like I personally have to let myself go because I have a session that I pushed off a bit so we'd get it done. I appreciate that we're keeping it flowing. I don't know exactly where it's going, but I feel the vibe between us, and I trust that we're going to continue to be used by the cards well.
I enjoy it. No, it's always an enjoyable conversation. Of course, let us know if y'all have any information that you want to speak about, topics. Just hit me on Instagram at Rashad N Cards with the letter N. Gina, what's your Instagram?
Gina, or Guided by the Cards.
Guided by the Cards. And Gracia, and Gracia. And I actually put it in the titles as well. So I
thanks,
did go back
Rashawn.
and edit and put them in there.
Thanks for figuring this out. This is working. I want to learn how to play with this too. And I love that it has a little duck in the top. It makes me so happy.
Yeah. Like Nina for the longest time been wanting to do YouTube, and I just couldn't. I think my equipment, my laptop, everything wasn't like lining up for me to do it at those particular times. It was a lot of transitional things, and then I seen this. I was like, okay, that's like very easy, simple. Like I can do that.
Nice. So, and there's ways that we could put this on like a Facebook or other places too. Or is it just land in YouTube?
I don't have Facebook, so I didn't really dive into.
Well, let's talk about that, because I do, and I have places that I'd love to continue to get these flowing to that'll help grow the readings for both of you and whatever else we choose to grow.
Yeah. So external, share the screen. So I'm pretty sure you have an invite link as well. So
okay.
if they click,
I'll play around and look at it. Yeah.
Facebook. But yeah.
Sweet. All right. Anyone else? Anything else?
No,
Gina, good luck this weekend. On Tuesday, we'll talk about what we harvested from our family weekends.
Yeah, that part. Night. And then next week is a 7 of Hearts week, and we're in a 7 of Hearts year. So next week could definitely be very a big marker, paying attention, like being aware, pay attention. We are in a 7 of Hearts year, 7 of Hearts, and it's ironic. You think they don't know what they're doing. It's Valentine's Day week. Come on now. Mm-hmm. So they get people in their feelings, and when they don't go and splurge and spend all, don't get got.
I'm looking forward to the 9 of Spades essence of it, to everything, coming to its full fruition.
Yeah, and let people love you the way they love you.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing, is to recognize that people have really true ways of loving you in their language. And when we're busy trying to see it a certain way or hear it a certain way, we miss some of the love that's there all the time.
Yeah. And that's the key with the 7 of Hearts, that there's love all the time, no matter what. No matter what, if they show up or don't show up or miss the date or ditch you or whatever the case may be,
They love you.
that you can't let that interfere with the love that you have to create for yourself. And because then, to me, you give your power away. You give someone else that power that they,
Oh yeah,
like because then you're going to emotionally respond to the lack of love, or
the rejection, right? I
Right.
think what we emotionally respond to is the
It's the
sense of rejection. When somebody doesn't seem as excited about something we think they should be excited about, or we
Right.
hope they'd be excited about, that rejection starts to vibrate through, and then that's looking for a stage, right? You're like, you rejected me, blah blah blah. I deserve it. How come? Da, 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 you know.
He's laughing because he knows.
I don't know. I have no idea.
We've all been there, like, fuck this person. Like,
yeah, so let's remember that there's no such thing as rejection, and if there is rejection, it's protection, right? Rejection is protection.
Yes, it wasn't meant to happen, and you had a very specific attachment to it being a certain way, and not even seeing that way might not have been the best way for you.
Exactly. As a 3 of diamonds, that is a life lesson. Like relationships, those 7s. Yeah, I never knew about love relationships until I ran into that particular energy. I have to be honest. The 2 of spades energy is very similar, or can be close in ways, because they had the 8 of hearts. But most definitely, I think that 7 of hearts energy is a test. It's definitely a lesson.
So we'll be tested next week, right? We're kind of being tested this year. And we know 7s are spiritual. So this right now, with this 6 of Hearts week still in it, it is a really good time to kind of reflect. And what is the love that you're putting out? Like, what is, like, that's why I say always pay attention to, like, what is showing up, because it's just a reflection of what you've been giving. And if you don't like it, now's the time to amend it. Now's the time to correct it. Now's the time to fix it, adjust it, rebalance it. Because when that 7 comes, if you didn't do the work with the 6, it'll be a little bit harder. Because remember, once again, the 6, it starts at the top, but what does it do? It goes into itself. So if you don't give yourself that love, when that 7 comes and you had all these expectations, that's when it gets real mucky. All
right, so we're gonna have a really good room on Clubhouse next Tuesday, talking about what surfaced in our families this weekend. So anybody who wants to come in and tell us what bubbled up in this time of clarity, so that you could leave that sense of disparity around love and actually know it's an inside job. We'd love to hear all about it, right?
I love it.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then after that, and just to throw it in to anyone who's listening, we're looking for a bunch of jacks. We want to talk to a whole bunch of jacks all at once. We want to really understand the jack land. So we're looking to invite you all.
It's like Toys R Us land.
That's funny. Toys R Us. Wow, that's funny.
It's like the playground of the jacks, right?
It literally is I'm a whole playground. I mean, it's.
Well, we got a lot of kings, because I happen to draw a lot of kings to me. So we've had some good king conversations. We can use some more queens. We may do some more in the queens, but we for our royal set, we need the jacks.
Stick out your ass and have some fun.
All right. Well, I'm ready to have some fun with the jacks and learn what it is to play the way you play. So we're going to do that after the family gets us clear and less hot messy. We'll talk about the jacks and see what we can do. But yeah, that's one of the things I want to put out there if I can. Nice. All right. Well, thank you for your time. I know, right? It is. I guess it's his bedtime still. But may everybody